I had the privilege of seeing at Stealth F-117 in Pensacola, Florida last year at the Blue Angel Homecoming. The Blue Angels, the Navy demonstration team, is based in Pensacola, Florida. I had a special invitation, got to go see this. As I was sitting in a special area for the F-117 pilots and the other pilots for the entire day of aerial shows that we see at this full-day celebration of the Blue Angels, one of the Team Stealth pilots sat next to me. And as I noticed the Team Stealth pilot, I knew it was Team Stealth because the gentleman and the ladies and other gentlemen in his team had patches on their uniforms. The patch had Team Stealth. But what really got me and what really stood out was the purpose statement that was wrapped around this image of Team Stealth. Let me share with you the purpose of Team Stealth. When it absolutely, positively has to be taken out overnight. Is that the coolest thing you've ever heard? Hey, show of hands, how many of you would like to be a part of that team?
Over 99% of our 600 participants agreed your presentation was the best session ever.
Just because you've done something a certain way forever doesn't mean that's the way you need to do it in the future. So I suggest this to you. Today's solutions were created from yesterday's problems. Today's solutions were created for yesterday's problems. New problems perhaps require a fresh approach, a fresh solution.
You did it again. You have exceeded our expectations in leadership development.
It's pretty simple. If your people don't understand how to make a profit, they won't. And if they don't understand what their role is in making the profit, they can't. So these great companies find ways to teach their own people what growing a profit's all about. It makes sense, doesn't it?
Your insights into the business world are enlightening.
The fifth retention truth: some people need to go away. Don't they? How many of you right now, know of somebody in your company that if you could, you would fill out their application for a job at another company? How many of you would drive them to the interview? Get rid of those turkeys! Let me tell you the most progressive way I've heard recently to deal with these people that need to go away. You don't call it outplacement. You don't call it firing. You don't call it outsourcing. Here's how you handle it. You walk up to these people and say, you've just been voted off the island. You are our weakest link. Goodbye.
The verdict is in. Dr. Jim Harris was the resounding best speaker at the conference.
The second principle I want to share with you that's particularly relevant for you leaders is that these organizations have open communication. Bottom line on what I recommend to you in open communication is simply this. Take the Sam Walton model. Sam Walton said 99% of the best ideas we ever had came from our people.
From Fortune magazine's Best Places to Work in America, to winners of the prestigious Malcolm Baldrige Quality Award, to Inc. magazine's Top 500 Companies and beyond, Dr. Jim Harris's clients are a virtual who's who of today's best-run companies. A former executive with a Fortune 500 firm, Dr. Harris's award-winning best practices research in leadership and organizational excellence continues to place him on the leading edge of today's best business thinkers. Jim's dynamic presentations are filled with real-world action ideas that work. Through a masterful blend of humor, audience interaction, and practical solutions, Jim inspires every audience to achieve great results.
Now, what I want to give you are some 30-second examples of how some companies bring these 5 principles to life. I really wanted to focus on that purpose statement, that mission, because that comes from you. The rest of this you can integrate with your managers and supervisors throughout your organization. Here's how some companies bring these 5 principles to life. Mirage Resorts, Las Vegas, Nevada. A very forward-thinking supervisor in the housekeeping staff started this many years ago. When she has her monthly meetings with her staff, she asks her staff, hey, what one thing better can I do for you, my staff, this month? Now think about that for a second. She's asking her staff. She's listening. She's seeking feedback. What one thing can I do better for you this month? The staff comes up with the one thing better that the boss can do for them. Isn't that an interesting turnaround? But she doesn't end it there. At the end of the meeting, she says, great, that's one thing I'll do better for you, but now, here's one thing I want all of you to do better for me. Now, isn't that an interesting way to open communication and create partnerships in real time? The concept of motivation. We touched on that in the earlier session. But we need to understand that we cannot motivate our people, they motivate themselves. So if we cannot motivate our people, and they motivate themselves, what is it left up for us to do? Think back what we did in the earlier session. We talked about how to build a culture of excellence, how to build a high-performance culture. What you need to do is create the environment to where people want to come to work and naturally excel. And if you create that place where people want to come, and you have that now. You have that right now. I want you to keep it. I don't want you to lose it. That may be the most magic ingredient you have to your long-term success. That you keep that culture alive. I want you to do that. And when you do that, there's only two areas you need to worry about in terms of employee motivation. Only two areas. You might want to write these down. Number one, environmental incentives. The environment. What are we doing to create the kind of workplace that inspires excellence? The environmental incentives. That's how the office looks, how we talk to one another, whatever, just the environment. The second area of motivation you need to look at, and I touched on in the earlier session, is individual incentives. Remember how we talked about individualizing incentives to the unique individual? Just simple little things. If you create the right environment and you individualize as much as you can the thank yous, you got this thing of motivation knocked out. You got it. You got it. Here's the difference in motivation today, friends. Write this down. 3 words. Make it personal. Make it quick. Make it fun. I'm going to say that again. Make it personal to the unique needs of the individual. Make it quick. My rule of thumb is 3 days or less from the event. Why? Let me ask you. What were your successes 3 weeks ago today? Where was I 3 weeks ago today? 3 days or less. Make it personal, make it quick, and make it fun. Maybe you can put an interesting little twist to it that's out of the ordinary. That will be memorable. Quick story. Last time I was at the headquarters of Southwest Airlines, I took a tour of their new facilities, had a chance to meet with one of my friends there, and she was showing me around some of the new 5-story headquarters. And in the middle of the tour, she said, Jim, I am so happy to tell you this. At Love Field, Dallas headquarters, Southwest Airlines, we now have 17 members of one family working at Southwest Airlines. 17! They just can't report to one another. You see, Southwest Airlines, they don't hire people, they hire clans.